Welcome back to another episode of the FPL Sheeple podcast. We are a podcast that brings you curated content from top FPL managers every game week, where we review an FPL manager's content, be it their podcast or YouTube video or a blog or even a Twitter thread. We go through their suggestions and make informed changes in our own FPL teams. I'm your host Carling FIFA, and we come to you after game week 6, which had relatively low scores. The mid price midfielders scored big, and people's defenses were turned to red due to injuries. I'm joined by my co host FPL Donatello. Tell me, Donatello, how do we defend ourselves from these red defenses?
Hello, my friend. The only way I think is to wildcard, but I don't think we are there yet. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's the only way we can avoid getting these red and yellow warning flags on our FPL team players. So, but yeah, I think this was a very enjoyable game week, especially from like supporting Arsenal. We won
mm,
the North London derby, so I didn't really care what happens in FPL after that. And as you said, it was a low scoring affair overall. Like both of us pretty much got the same amount of
yeah,
points, so it wasn't an exciting game week in terms of point like we had previously. But I think we are still in the right direction.
yeah,
We got those small green arrows, so
yeah.
that's all that matters at the end of the game week.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, it wasn't such a great game week for me, football wise and even FPL wise, because yeah, for me, United didn't play well. So the red defense over there was pretty bad. Um,
Absolutely.
and yeah, I mean, it just looking at all these flags in the defense, it just almost prompts or sort of gives that impulse of hitting the wildcard button. But we will see in this episode if we have gone for it or not, and we'll discuss a bit in detail about all of these options that we have. So let's
Yep.
get into the agenda for this week.
Yep. Agenda is as usual. We're going to first review the game week six template team, and then look which players were chosen by our 20 content creators. And then we're going to do the creator team comparison. We're going to see how these players resulted in points for our 20 content creators, and then we'll review the spreadsheet and discuss the key takeaways from what we saw. And then based on who topped the 20 content creators, we're going to see who's the creator of the week for game week 7, and then um, follow their suggestions, and then discuss what changes we made, and then finally preview game week 7's matches, and as usual banter about who's going to win and
Hmm.
who's not.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, so then let's just get into the template team review for game week 6.
Mhm.
So, at the deadline of each game week, we put out a tweet which summarizes the what is the template team from 20 different FPL content creators. So these are the 20 content creators who we are closely following throughout the season, and we try to look at their picks every week or their teams in general to give us an idea how we should be approaching the game. So
Mhm.
here what we do is essentially take the 20 teams, figure out the top or the most selected 11 players with a valid formation in terms of FPL, and then put them out. So we have the players here, and the numbers next to the players indicate how many teams have these players in them. So for example, Sanchez in goal is in 16 out of the 20 teams. So he started for 16 out of the 20 teams, uh,
Yep.
which we follow. Then Trent is in all of them. Shaw is in 18 of them. And then this is where it was interesting that the third defender slot was really mixed. It was not consensus there. So the highest picked player in the third defensive slot was Semedo, with just four teams having him. So
Mm.
that is where I think now things have diverged a bit and people are going for different sorts of players. And then the rest of the team remained constant. So Rafinha, Benrahma, Jota, Salah, Greenwood was in most of the teams, and Antonio and Ronaldo were the most popular forwards, with Ronaldo being the most popular captain choice.
Yep.
So that's the general template team, as it were, for game week 6. And we also in our episode indicate which of these players are in each of our teams. So for example, for me, I have 9 of these 11 players, so my team is still pretty stuck to the template of all these 20 content creators. It's serving me well because I'm doing well, my ranks are pretty good, so looks like following this sort of template hive mind of these 20 content creators seems to be working well so far.
Hmm.
And for you also, you have 8 out of these
Eight.
11 players,
Yeah.
so yeah, you are
Yeah.
also not far away. It's just these one or two players which I feel that they are also probably the next 2 or 3 most popular picks from these content creators.
Well, yeah, and to add to I think we have players who are making up for the players we don't have in from this template team. Like for example, we have Sar and Gray, who have gotten more points than Jota and Greenwood combined.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we have like 70 or 80% of the template players, but
Yeah.
whatever we have, the rest are also contributing to our overall points. So that's good for us.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so then right now the template still remains pretty strong, but now I think with the wildcards that will, um, I'm sure, be activated in game week 7 and in 8, uh, we will
Yeah.
see a very different template hopefully in the next two
I'm
episodes.
I'm sure more than 50% of these managers are going to wildcard. So next week, I think the template team will be completely different, and it would be fun to see if we still have players belonging to that template. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's going to be a split between 7 and 8, and
well,
game week
I
7 and game
think
week
I
8, right?
think in the defense we'll be seeing the color blue and light
Yeah,
blue, I guess.
yeah, exactly. So the red defense, as our episode is called this week, it's going to quickly turn into a blue defense,
Yeah.
with City and Chelsea having nice fixtures
Mm-hmm.
soon. So yeah, so that's how the teams are looking so far for the 20 content creators, or at least in game week 6. Let's see how it goes in the next few weeks. Um, right then, moving on to the game week review, we start off with your team first. How did you do?
I got 49 points, which was well above average. I think I got like a really small green arrow of I rose 10,000
Hmm.
in rank. So my overall rank is now 282k from 292k.
Mm-hmm.
A very small rise there, but I'll take it. The only transfer that I made last week was I bought in Sar, who got 9 points, so that worked
Yeah,
well. But look at that defense, just like 2 points out of possibly I don't know how many.
yeah.
But the defense was the one that was a letdown. Otherwise, my forwards and midfielders contributed decently. And again, Ivan Tony is going to be a problem because I don't know whether to bench him or to play him because he's returning points every game week for the last couple of weeks now. So yeah, overall 49 points. I'm happy with it. Um, yeah, so these standout players, as we're going to point, as we're going to discuss later, were like Sar, Rafinha,
Yeah,
Gray, and then Antonio. Uh, you know, we did really great by not selling him uh, when he was red carded. He delivered 8 points as well. So yeah, overall, I think it was a decent game week. How
yeah,
about
it
you?
was. Yeah, yeah, it was great. I think I remember in your team a couple of weeks ago you had Saka, and he's gone
Yep.
pretty big. But I think you brought
I bought in Gray for him.
Gray for him. But yeah, so Gray
Mm.
has also been giving you, chipping you with points. So yeah, even though Saka went big this last game week, it was still, I think, a fine move. But I think now it's
Yeah.
probably soon time to get back Saka. Looks like he's playing really well.
Yeah, definitely have him in my mind when we wildcard, and hopefully it's all going to depend on what our content
Yeah,
creators wildcard draft is.
yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, hopefully they
Yeah,
have him in mind too.
yeah, I think so. I think I already am seeing people suggesting I mean, some of these content creators suggesting wildcard drafts, and I've seen them, seen him in a couple of drafts. So yeah, it's possible, and I'm sure that if you, as soon as you see next week's content creator of the week, have even a hint that Saka can be in the team, I'm sure you're going to have him.
Yeah.
So yeah, so anyway, so coming to my team and how it did in game week 6, I got 50 points. So we were like just neck to neck. Uh,
Yep.
and for me, the points were pretty evenly spread out. I think the major issue I had was that a huge chunk was on the bench. So on the bench, I had
Oh
17
yeah.
points in total. So
Mm-hmm.
I think, I mean, this was something I did not expect. I mean, Ivan Tony got 5 points on my bench, and Veltman got 7 points on my bench, and both of them could have been in instead of uh, perhaps one of the defenders and maybe one of the midfielders, and I would have been slightly better. But it's okay. I mean, it doesn't matter. I think the main guys such as Rafinha and Sar got me all the points. Semedo got the clean sheet, so I'm bringing him in has finally paid off. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, even though even though we thought the Wolves defense is probably not going to do well, I think it came through and they managed to get a clean sheet.
You know what I've observed is whenever we rant about something, it does exactly the opposite the next game week. So remember,
Yeah,
I remembered ranted about Ivan Tony. He gave us 12 points the
yeah,
next game week. I ranted
yeah,
about Wolves defense. They kept a clean sheet and got bonus. So what do we have today?
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
rant
It'll
about
be
something.
Yeah, it'll be. I think now you probably say Luke Shaw is not going to play well and not do good, and I think he's going to end up scoring the next, if he's fit or whatever, end up scoring in the next
I don't
week or
think
so.
I have him on my radar. So
Yeah, yeah. All right. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So then overall, yeah, everything else was fine. The captain, Ronaldo blanked,
Hmm.
but it's okay. He was anyway a very common captain, and Salah was also a captain for a lot of players, but he also, I mean, ended up getting 7 points, which did not harm us overall um too much. And for
Yeah.
me also, I got a really small green arrow from 96k to 93k, but that's
Hmm.
okay. I'm inside the 100k after game week 6,
Yep.
and so everything is looking fine. The defense has a couple of flags, but they are not. I mean, it's not looking too bad for me, I would say, for game week 7. And I think a few transfers should be fine. So I don't know. I don't think my team needs the wild card in this game week.
Hmm.
I think so. I mean, it's sort of a spoiler alert, but I think probably my team doesn't need it right now, as
Hmm.
far as we know, because if any new injuries pop up, then obviously we can hit a wildcard button and tweet about it later or something.
I don't think there are any injuries from the Champions League games, so
Yeah,
looking forward to the press conferences
yeah,
tomorrow and Friday.
yeah, true. So yeah, so that was our game week. Let's now go on to our creator team comparison for game week 6. So uh, we are this week going to feature um, the not the highest scoring team, but the second highest scoring team, and we tweeted about this earlier as well. So FPL Cruyff once again came out on top. I mean, he was not top when he actually was the creator of the week. He was second then, but we since we featured him already in a past episode, we will not have him again as the creator of the week until the half point of the
Second
seasons.
round of
Yeah,
fixtures.
exactly. So then that's why, I mean, so FPL Cruyff ended up having 60 points. So that's pretty good. That's much higher than the average. But in second position, or the runner up, was Andy Let's Talk FPL, and he got 57 points. So he is going to be the creator of the week for this week, and we are going to feature his suggestions and his choices when we do the next preview. And so he got 57 points based off, he had uh, all the usual players that we talked about in our teams. He had Weltman was in his starting lineup as well, so he got 7 points from that. And main thing was he had Raul Jimenez up front, which I don't think either
Mm.
of our team has, and that got him the 8 points. So Jimenez scored a goal, and I think that's what set his team up ahead. And so the difference between us and Andy seems to be this Jimenez pick that leads to
Mm.
that 8 point advantage
Mm.
over our players. So yeah, that's why it looks like he got these points. So that was Andy, and now let's take a look at all the other 19 managers and who they had in their teams.
Right.
So here, what we have is a spreadsheet which compares the teams from all the 20 content creators who we follow. And what we do is that we have the 20 content creators. We also have added us, both of us, into this mix so that we understand what our teams are in relation to them and how we are doing in relation to these content creators, so that we have some context while playing FPL. And so we have the game week points for all 22 of us. We have the total points, we have their overall rank, we have the captains. And then what we have is a really, what we feel is a powerful tool is to have all the player picks from these teams which have started, and all these players have been arranged in order of their frequency in these teams. So for example, Salah
Mm.
was in all 20 teams, so he's the first or the top player here, or top player in the spreadsheet. Then second is Alexander Arnold, and then as we move to the right, we go to the more uh, rare picks, or as they're called, differential picks. So
Yeah.
for example, in Sufal, who's in only 4 teams, is the 16th most common player. And then as we go to the right, we have Jimenez, who was in only 3 teams, so he ended up being sort of a differential. So he got 8 points, and these 3 teams got some advantage from it. Um, so that's why they also got good points. Then Maguire, Saint Maximin, who are picked in only one of the teams,
Yeah.
even they turned out to be differential, and that's why those creators might have had better points than the average.
Yep.
So then, if we take a look at FPL Cruyff, who um, topped the charts this week, and I scroll to the right just to check uh, which differential pick he had. Looks like he had Maguire, who got 7 points, which no one else
Yeah.
had,
Maguire, and Weltman.
and Weltman as well. Yes, so these two are seem to have been his differential defender picks that have, and obviously for others, I imagine the defense would not have gotten too many points. As we saw for both of us, it was just like a bunch of blanks. So I think
Yeah.
these 14 points from Weltman and Maguire set him up. And as we already talked about Andy, he got those the same from Wiltman and Jimenez. So
Yep.
yeah, so that's sort of the use of this spreadsheet, is to take a look at what differential picks are standing out and doing getting all these content creators some points, and which are in
Mm.
general the good pool of players from which one can choose their teams from. So
Yeah.
yeah, so this is the Excel sheet. We will put a link to this sheet in our YouTube video, as well as or the description of our YouTube video, and also the description of our audio podcast. So anyone who's interested can uh, take a look at this spreadsheet, scroll around, and play around with it as they like. And so you can take a look at it as well. And what we'll do is now go back and talk a little bit about the key takeaways from this spreadsheet.
Yep.
So yeah.
Um, So, key takeaways this week. On honestly, there wasn't much. There weren't much takeaways, except for like a couple of them, which I feel was like the budget midfielders are doing everything for everyone, or especially for
Mhm.
this game week. Sar, Rafinha, Gray, and I guess Jota might be a budget midfielder, but yeah, these are the ones who are leading the way. 8 points, 9 points, 6 points. Assisting all the content creators and everyone who own them, because even because the defense did not contribute in at all, especially if you own like template players. So I feel like from the spreadsheet, it was like these players, these players were the ones who contributed to those points which kept all of the content creators and us above average for this game
Hmm.
week. So that I feel is the one of the takeaways for me. And then the second one, which you've already pointed out, was
Yeah.
only a handful of differentials this week again. um, I would like I think Weltman was assisted in few, I guess many players who owned him. It was a very last minute equalizer
Yeah.
by Brighton, so, and it was a Weltman assist, so he contributed immensely to a lot of players' final
Yeah.
points because he gave like 7 points, which bumped up people from average to like good decent scores for the
Yeah.
game week. So I think he was a real differential this game week. Jimenez, as you already pointed out, was, he stood out with 8 points. He scored the only goal. Maguire and Alan Saint Maximin. I guess Saint Maximin is again a player who's delivering day in and day out for Newcastle. So I have my eye out for him and hoping some of the content creators recommend him in the wildcard team or the weeks after if his form continues. I'm not sure about Maguire, but yeah, he was still like a differential this game week. So yeah, that's what I observed. And finally, the Wolves assets embarrassed me after my rant last week against them. Uh, questioning whether they are worth taking in the in our FPL teams. They delivered finally.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was about time they did because as at the start of this podcast, when the season started, I watched the Wolves matches and they were like really good, and it was just a matter of converting those chances. I think they just did last week, and I hope they continue with this because I'm sure in the even in the template team, or if even if people wildcard, there will be one or two wild Wolves defenders in there. So what do you think?
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure they people will have them because they have a good set of fixtures,
Yeah,
and especially the next one in Game Week 7, they are playing Newcastle,
yeah,
and after that it's a bunch of, I think, medium difficulty fixtures. Uh, so yeah, people can have them, and since they are very attacking, especially the likes of Semedo. And the left wing back Marsal, so
yeah.
people could have, and Jimenez, of course, is since he scored a goal, his confidence might be back and the floodgates might open. So yeah, he is also, we imagine, going to be an asset in many wildcards.
Yeah.
So yeah, so these were the key takeaways from this week's spreadsheet. And yeah, we'll keep an eye out every week as to what's going on, and next week we might have a few takeaways with some people's wildcards as well.
Right.
Right. So then, now moving on to some more interesting analysis that we thought could be of use here is to now every week sort of figure out or take a note of how um, all the different changes we've made in our teams have impacted
Right.
our scores. So we are going to about them in terms of each creator who we had as a creator of the week, and which players we transferred out and in based on these creator suggestions, and how many net points did we gain or lose. And so for me, for example, I in game week 2 we had late riser who was the creator of the week, and I transferred out Rafinha in that game week and got in Benrama, and I got a net gain of 5 points in that game week. And
Yeah.
then on the other hand, in game week 5, when we had Mark Southerns from FF Scout and the FPL Black Box, when we had him as the creator of the week, I transferred out Simicas and brought in Semedo, thinking that Simicas is probably going to not play at all, and I wanted to free up a slot, a Liverpool slot. And lo and behold, Simicas ended up playing in that game week because there was these last minute sort of rest for Robertson, which we
Yeah.
did not have any clue about when we recorded the podcast. So yeah, so we can't do much about that. So yeah, so that's why in that game week I had a net gain of -4. So essentially I lost 4 points because Semedo ended up blanking. So yeah, so these things happen, and then this past game week, based on FPL Salah's suggestion, I had transferred out Grealish, who got just 3 points, and I had got in Sar, and I got 9 points from Sar, so I got gained 6 points. So overall, in I think in 3 out of the 5 creators so far, I have managed to gain a net positive, which I feel is a good thing to have.
So what we are trying to say is saying is Carling FIFA got like 7 points from the 5 content creators in
Yeah,
his
yeah.
overall.
If you overall calculate all the net gains, it's just seven
Yeah.
points gained from.
For me, it's 17 points.
Oh yeah, that's exactly, yeah. And we'll show you your table now, and yeah, it's like, yeah, I just got like 7 points as you said, and yeah, that's not great for 6 or 7 transfers. But in your case, you've done really well.
I mean, yeah, I think it's the Bisuma one which turns the table for me because he didn't. I guess he didn't play or didn't get points that game week, and Sar got like 9. So it's just like a
Yeah,
pro positive trade off straight away because
yeah,
there are 0 points for Bisuma. So I think that's where the chunk of my points come in. Otherwise, I think I'm pretty much in the same boat as yours. So
yeah.
um,
That's
but
true.
yeah, six content creators, 5 content creators have assisted with 17 points for us. So uh, yeah, it would be interesting to see how many we get at the end of the year.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see, and we can maybe have some sort of award for the content creator who ends up giving us the most net gain in one game week. So yeah, I'm sure we'll have to do some sort of normalization for double and triple game weeks or whatever. But yeah, it'll be really interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the creator impact that we have gotten so far. And then we finally move to the creator of the week for game week 7, which is Andy Let's Talk FPL. And his Twitter handle is at Let's Talk underscore FPL. He's a prominent figure on YouTube, has the probably the most subscribed channel related to FPL content out there.
Mm.
I think he has more than 250,000 subscribers, and that's amazing. So it'll be, yeah, it's really nice to the he always has a consistent and a large amount of content out every week. He's always pretty pretty clear about all his thought processes. He will always speak out loud about his thought processes, and so it's always clear. If you watch his videos every week, you will understand every choice and every player that he's talking about, and the caveats or the pros and cons for having each player. So it's really nice. He's currently sitting at 52K, so another
Mm.
flyer of a start. And he is doing really well. He's had 11 seasons in FPL so far, and his best rank was 1294, which was last season. So last season, and this is something we saw in the season preview, that he was really flying high. He was below 1K for a long time, and then he sort of plateaued and ended up being up there towards the end
Yeah.
of the season. And in his 11 seasons so far, he's managed to get the top 10K 3 times and the top 100K 6 times. So 9 out of his 11 seasons have been stellar. And yeah, in the other 2 seasons, he's been just outside the 100K. So he's always had a great
Mm.
rank. So yeah, another amazing manager to look at and follow. And yeah, so let's take a look at what Andy suggested this week. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Um,
Andy essentially suggests that if it is possible for you to not wildcard, then don't wildcard, because if your team is, even though you might see a lot of flags, if you can just take a hit or two in the next couple of weeks and your team is still has the right mix of players, then he says that there's no need to wildcard. And so which are the players that he feels that people should have in their teams even after the hits are defenders such as the Chelsea defenders Rudiger, and one of Alonso or Espelicueta, and Cancelo or Diaz for that matter from Manchester City. So if you have
mm,
at least I would say three out of these four or five defenders, he says you are fine. You
yeah.
can, if you swap out what you have right now for these, then you are fine. And the midfielders, if you have the mix of Salah, Sar, Rafinha, and Grealish, if you can get him in the next week or two, then you're fine again. And the striker pool that he likes is Lukaku, Jimenez, and Antonio, and I
Mm,
think Ivan Toni to some extent. So if you have a mixture of these players, he says, like, if you can do a hit or a couple of transfers in the next 2 weeks and you have a good mix of these players, you should hold on to your wild card, is what he suggests. So that was really interesting, and I think sort of gave us clarity as well for our own teams.
yeah.
And just to put it out there, he's also put out a wildcard draft, a rough wildcard draft, which can obviously change with more news that we get throughout the week. But uh, just to give our listeners an idea about which are the good players to have in the wildcard, the draft contains Ramsdale as the goalkeeper, Ramsdale and Foster. Then in defense, you have Livramento from Southampton, who's a really cheap and good defender. You have Joao Cancelo. Trent is now currently injured, so you can swap him around for Diaz or
DS.
someone else. So that's
DS
what.
or possibly Wolves defense, I
Yeah,
guess.
possibly. Yeah, and
Mm.
then he had Aspilicueta and Rudiger in his wildcard draft. Then in midfield he had Brownhill as a bench fixed bench option. Then Rafinha, Salah, Saka, and Embuemo. Embuemo is also a great asset. He, even though he's
Mm.
classified as a midfielder, he's playing like a second striker in the Brentford team, and he's doing well. And then up top, as I said, Antonio, Jimenez, and Lukaku are his preferred choice. So this is the wildcard draft he suggested. So if in any case anyone is tempted to wildcard this week, these is the pool of players that you can generally have in your wildcard.
So one
That's what I.
observation about this draft, I
Mhm.
think it's more heavier on the defense and the forward,
Yeah,
but it has relatively weaker midfield with like Salah and Rafinha being the only standouts. But I
yeah,
think that's what you have to do in order to like accommodate good strikers or like good defenders, because now that we are going to go for City, Chelsea assets, they are all like almost 6 million in
yeah,
price, and
exactly.
even the forwards are all 7.5 million and above,
Yeah,
especially Jimenez. So you have to have like a balanced midfield in order to accommodate those changes. So yeah, it looks a really great wildcard draft to consider for our listeners.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So yeah, so based on these suggestions, let's take a look at what we did. Starting with my team,
Hmm.
and for me, it was pretty clear. I had um, Luke Shaw in my team, and he is injured. I don't know the extent of his injury, but it was clear that it was time to move away from the United defense. They weren't keeping a clean sheet anyway. So I have transferred out Shaw and have gotten in Marcos Alonso. Now, Alonso played 45 minutes in the Champions League against Juventus, which could mean anything because it could mean that he's rested for the weekend match, or it means that it didn't quite work out, and now Ben Chilwell is going to play
I
instead of him.
for those very reasons, I was very skeptical about Alonso because he played today's match. Even though he
Yeah,
played 45 minutes, I mean, I had this experience last year where I had the second wild card or the first wild card that I played, and
yeah,
I had Alonso in my team, or like Chelsea triple up, and then Tuchel roulette started. and then
Yeah.
those those uh, those assets did not give me any returns, and so I'm a little skeptical about what you've your transfer, but hopefully Alonso features and you at least get
Yeah.
some points for him.
Yeah. There are now a couple of points that I considered while making that change. The first was that yes, Alonso could end up not starting and not playing the game, but then
Mm,
I have Veltman on my bench who's playing Arsenal and at home, and Brighton defense at home is pretty strong normally.
mm,
So Veltman can come in, and if he nicks a clean sheet, it's fine. Then no
yeah,
harm done. And so I feel that my first bench option is
right.
pretty good. So I'm that way I was confident. And the second thing was, I did some analysis in the same way that our content creators do, is that I took a look at Southampton and where they considered sort of shots and chances from, and it looked like that they considered a lot from the left wing especially, and a few from the right wing. So it looks like the wings are a bit problematic for Southampton, and that's
Mm,
why I went for Alonso. So that if he starts, he might get a lot of joy down that wing. So this is a very
right.
sort of um, it's sort of taking in the suggestion of the content creator, but going that one step extra to figure out which one is the best. So yeah.
Carling is being a wingman to Alonso there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And so I just hope. And the thing is that if we are going to wildcard in the next week or two, then it's fine. I can, dead end this team, have these risky picks, and if they don't pay off, I just wildcard and get rid of them. So it's fine
Yeah.
for this game week. I just went for the more maverick option.
Mm.
And so just to read out my team, I have Sanchez in goal, Semedo, Sufal, and Alonso. In midfield, I have Salah, Benrama, Rafinha, and Sar. And up front, I have Tony, Ronaldo, who's my captain, and Antonio, who's my vice captain. On the bench, I have Foster as a goalkeeper backup and Weltman, as I said, as my first bench option. Trent, I've kept him in my team so far. He's on the bench, and we'll see what to do about him in the next weeks. And I have Brownhill, who's the bench, fixed bench option. So yeah, so that's my team, and for game week 7, and let's see how it goes.
Yep.
So then, coming to your team.
Yeah, I made two changes. I took a hit this game week because again I didn't want to wildcard because I feel this is like a good base or like a good
Mm-hmm.
team setup here. Um, what's the point if I'm anyways going to consider those same players in the wild card if I already have them? So there's no
Yeah.
point to wild carding this game week. Probably will do it next game week if things change. The two transfers that I made were Trent is gone from my team, and so
Okay.
is Reece James. So I bought
Mm-hmm.
in Joao Cancelo and Rudiger. I
Yeah.
went for the safer option with Chelsea there because Rudiger starts every match. And same logic with Cancelo. He has started every single match for City along with Diaz. Um, I went for Cancelo because he has more chances of like attacking returns
Mm-hmm.
than Diaz. So yeah, those were the two changes that I made. And then here's my team. I have Sanchez in goal, Rudiger, White, and Cancelo in defense. Sar, Rafinha, Gray, Benrama, and Salah my midfield. And Ronaldo captain, and Antonio is my second striker. And on the bench, I have Tony, Sufal, and Shaw. I hope Ivan Tony doesn't do anything this week
Yeah. I was just
because
going to
this.
ask. Yeah.
I mean, it's a choice between him
And
or
Gray.
Benrama or Gray. But I stuck with Gray because I don't know, man. I mean, I feel Everton is doing good. So
Nah,
worth
man.
giving him on a.
You're too anti United to see that Tony is going to fetch you those points.
I mean, it can still change, bro. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, it can still change. I've right now I feel Gray might give me more returns than Tony, but it might change.
But
So yeah, that's my team for.
yeah, because you just
I mean,
said in the earlier in the episode that Tony is fetching points and you wish he was in your starting lineup, and I'm like surprised that it's not like that right now.
I mean, West Ham is. I mean, agreed. Brentford had like a really great game against Liverpool, but West Ham at home are also really good.
Yeah.
So they might just batter Brentford and might get just 2 points from Tony. So
Okay.
um, that's my
Fair enough.
thinking behind it. But this is 95% my team. It might change, but no, I think I'm going to stick with this
Yeah.
to the game week.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right. So then let's. Yeah. So then good luck to us both, and then let's move on to this week's fixtures and our predictions. So we start off with United versus Everton. You've gone for a 1-1 draw, and I've gone for a United win. I by again I will say this every week. In principle or by principle, I will always go for United win, no matter the fixture. And yeah, so it could be a draw. I mean, it's possible with United's form at least. But then today I have been buzzing after the late Champions League victory. So you never know. They could make a
Yeah,
win.
yeah, that's completely possible. I just heard that Villarreal completely dominated United for most parts of the game, but it's
Of the first
CR7 who
half.
does
Of the first
who
half.
does the job at
Yeah.
the end again. So,
Yeah, Villarreal were
uh,
pretty good in the first half, but second half,
mm.
I think United were much better, and towards the end, they did deserve it. Deserve the victory, I would say. Yeah, so then Burnley and Norwich, we've gone for opposite scores. You've gone for a Norwich victory 2-1, and I've gone for a Burnley victory 2-1. So yeah, that'll
Mm.
be interesting. Finally, you're going for a win for Norwich, ending Parker's losing streak.
Yeah, I think Norwich is a better side than Burnley this season in terms of at least attacking options. I don't see well, like Burnley is really in a bad patch, so I don't see them winning this match, even if like it's like a battle of the bottom two teams. So I think
Yeah.
Norwich is going to win this one.
hmm Then Chelsea Southampton, we've gone for a clean sheet victory for Chelsea. I'm saying 3-0, you're saying 2-0, and yeah, I
Mm.
think that's what we hope and that's what we expect is going to happen in this match.
A nil-nil would work for us even so.
Yeah, I mean, I hope the
As long as
expensive Chelsea
Southampton doesn't
defenders.
score.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the expensive Chelsea defenders should at least get a clean sheet, if not an attacking return. So yeah, it'll be
Yep.
all eyes on them. Leeds and Watford, I am going for a 2-1 victory for Leeds, and you are going for 1-all draw. Fair enough. I think either of the results is possible. And yeah, there'll be
Yeah.
goals, that's for sure, in this match, hopefully.
Mm.
And either of the team, the goals should be from Sar and Rafinha, I imagine.
Yeah, bonus points too.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough. Then Wolves and Newcastle, I've gone for a Wolves victory 1-0, and you've gone for a 2-all draw between them, which bodes well for people having Jimenez, your scoreline, and my scoreline for people having Wolves defense, I guess.
Yeah, I think Newcastle attack is good. Um, Saint Maximin being in form, so um, you know, I think this might be like a good 2-all draw, or even you don't know, it might be a dull nil-nil even. But either of the scores are possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Then Brighton Arsenal, I think I might have made a mistake here. I didn't mean to say it's going to be a 3-2 victory to Arsenal. That's a hugely exciting match. I think it's going to be a 2-1 victory for Arsenal, which is what you've predicted as well. So yeah, I
Right.
think I made a mistake in saying 2-3. It's
So
actually
I'm
1-2.
assuming this week Arsenal either draw or lose because you haven't gone for a draw, which you have been consistently helping Arsenal win the matches. But no, I think that Spurs victory was very it was a it was total domination against them.
hmm
Completely overpowered them in all departments. So I think even though Brighton is in a good shape this season, it will be a tough match. especially with Neil Maupay's antics last season.
Yeah,
It will be like a good tough battle for Arsenal, and I
yeah,
hope they overcome it at the end.
yeah. Next, it's Crystal Palace and Leicester. We've gone for a draw. 1-all from my side and 2-all for you. And yeah, I think
Yeah.
yeah, both teams are sort of in a similar sort of level right now, and so it's
Mm.
yeah, I think it's going to be a draw. Then Spurs and Aston Villa, we've both gone for a Aston Villa victory. You're saying that Aston Villa will get a clean sheet victory, and I'm saying that Spurs will score a goal.
Yeah, to pile on Spurs' misery, I
Yeah,
feel Aston Villa just got that win at the very right time against
yeah,
United last
yeah,
game week, so that should kick their season off.
yeah,
So I hope this is what's the end result for this match.
yeah. Then West Ham and Brentford, we've both gone for a 2-1 victory, so yeah, pretty clear there. And
Yep.
finally, Liverpool and City, you've gone for a nil-nil draw, and I've gone for a 1-all draw.
Man, I have seen these these two teams go at it over the last 3 to 4 years, and the scorelines have been exciting.
Yeah,
But from an FPL point of view, I just want like a nil-nil draw. I'm
yeah,
happy.
yeah, for your Cancelo clean sheet.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I mean,
I mean we have Ronaldo captain, so I don't want Salah to go on and score a hat trick, and we have
yeah,
half of our content creators
no,
have him as
City.
captain. So
I mean, I don't know how many players have even scored a hat trick against City. That
well,
rarely happens.
City played exceptionally well against Chelsea with that
Yeah,
unbelievable high press. So that's what Liverpool do to other teams, and if they bring the same game against Liverpool, it will be like fun to see. I mean, this is the
yeah,
game I'm looking forward to the weekend.
yeah, it'll be really nice. So yeah, so those are our predictions for game week 7 fixtures, and yeah, so then that's pretty much it from us, and so then it's just to wish good luck to all of our listeners, and good luck to both of us for this game week 7. Let's see how it goes. Let's see just before we wildcard potentially. Let's see how it go, how much we score, and yeah, then we'll be back next week, perhaps with a wildcard squad and a wildcard draft from many content creators. And yeah, just one final reminder for people to join our FPL mini league with the code YVVW2K. And so just feel free to join the league. All your points will be counted first, and so don't worry about joining late or whatever. And then finally, hit like, subscribe to our channel, share this podcast with as many friends as you can if you like it, like what we are doing, and like our content
Yeah,
and our
if you
spreadsheet.
yeah if you watch our podcast on YouTube, and if you like it, it's just a click of a button to subscribe to the podcast,
Exactly.
so it doesn't take much, so please, it will help us grow our channel.
Yeah.
So thank
Yeah.
you, and good luck to everyone.
Yeah. Good luck, everyone. And then yeah, it's goodbye for me, and take care.